Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to learn how to make this cute sleeping unicorn. So first we're going to take some modelling paste. I've used Renshaw's and we're just going to create a teardrop shape and chop the pointy part off. Now this is going to form the body. You want the neck area to have a little bit of a point to it. So as you can see there, I've cut it on an angle. And next we're going to make the feet. So we're just taking a sausage shape and chopping that in half. And we're going to chop again at an angle, and this is just going to give the leg area something to stick onto the body. So I do keep readjusting the size of the body. I want the body to be quite small in comparison to what the head is going to be, and just make sure your legs are roughly the same size. So once you've chopped them, you will have to just re-go over them again. So just check them for size. Now these legs are sort of like laid on each other and they're crossed. So you need to make an area where the legs are going to sit in. So we're going to pinch together, and that area wants to come to a V at the front of the body. So you can see that the legs are going to become closer together than what they were before. And then we're just going to rest one on top of the other. So I'm just reshaping the body and trimming off any excess. Just remember to always trim that neck at an angle. This just makes sure that once the head sits on there, it sits flush with the body. So we're just going to attach these with water. You can use edible glue. I prefer to use water just because edible glue ruins my brushes. So if I can get away with using water, I usually do. So just placing one foot on top of the other. And next we're going to move on to create the clouds. Now I have seen quite a few people ask how you make these kind of clouds. Basically you're just going to roll together some balls of your fondant to create the cloud shape. So it doesn't have to be too neat. It can be, quite roughly shaped. That's not a problem. But you just need to make sure that you flatten the area that the back is going to sit on, because you want the back to be flush with the clouds. You want it to look like it's nice and comfortable to sit on rather than a sharp, rough edge. So once you've got your rough shape, we're going to take some modelling paste. We're going to roll it quite thin. Now it needs to be quite thin because we're going to layer this over the cloud. And if it's too thick, you're going to lose that definition. So once you've rolled it out quite thin, we're just going to rest it over and make sure that we've got enough to cover what we need to cover. And we're just going to add a little bit of water. Doesn't have to be too much. And then we're going to push it in place. Always starting from the top and then just pulling out any of those creases. So you can see I'm just using my finger to go in and around. And I've got my stitching tool or my Dresden tool, and I'm using the veiner part of that, and I'm just re-going over those lines just to define them a little bit. And we're just going to trim off any excess. Now this doesn't have to be too neat, because what we're going to do is we're going to tuck those edges underneath the cloud anyway. So we're just going to smooth out any of the joins, and you can see I'm just using my thumb just to tuck those under, and then just re-going over some of those lines for definition. Made quite a few of these just to go on the cake as well. Just makes the clouds look a little bit better than when you just do the balls. It just makes it look, I don't know, more cloudy, I guess. So just a little bit of water and attaching the body onto there. So you should have something that looks like this. Just be careful with the legs because they do need time to dry. Next we're going to work on the head. So we're rolling kind of like a fat teardrop shape and just checking it against the body for size. And then we're going to use our little finger and we're just going to roll that over the centre of the face. And this is going to give us the definition of the eye area. So you can see I'm just about to hold it into my palm and just press that in there. And then we're going to attach this with a cocktail stick. So I've just snapped a bit of the cocktail stick off. Don't throw it away because we're going to save that for later. And then we're just going to wet the cocktail stick and then stick the head on. So just checking it for size. You want the head to be quite large compared to the body. And then I'm just going to take some really small bits of fondant. I find it easier to cut these with a knife rather than to try to take them off a blob of fondant. I find it easier to get them roughly the same size as well when that happens. And these are going to be for the nose area. So I'm just going to attach with a little bit of water, and then using the back of my Dresden tool, I'm just going to push that in, and that's going to create the nostrils. So once those are on, we're going to create the arms. So similar to the leg, we're going to roll out a sausage shape. Now it does need to be a little bit longer than what the legs were. And then we're going to trim at an angle again so that they can join onto the body. Now I put the hands so that they was touching, but you could change the position if you wanted to. So just push them into place and stick with a little bit of water. So just want to check your positioning, check the joins. If something's a little bit bulky, don't be afraid to take it off and just trim it down a little bit more before you move on to the next stage. With this modelling paste, you do have a bit of time to work with it before it firms up. So next we're going to go on and create the horn. So again, we're just going to roll a sausage shape that's pointy at one side, and we're going to twist it just like you would do with the larger horns on the bigger unicorn cakes. And then I'm just going to roll that in my hand, focusing on one edge being pointy and a bit bigger at the other one. It's going to bring the horn together but still leave the lines in that are usually there. You could roll the cone and draw the lines in if you wanted to. So next we're going to move on to the ears. So you just want two kind of like fat teardrop shapes, and then we're going to use the Dresden tool just to create the indentation for the ears. So I always do it once and then I'll bring it together at the bottom and then just do it again and pull down. We're going to trim the bottoms off, and it needs to be on an angle because these want to sit on the side of the head. We're just going to use a little bit of water just to attach those on. Make sure that it is a little bit because you do not want too much where they're sliding off the head as they're drying. So the ears want to go sort of like at the side of the head but at the top. And then we're going to do the horn. So the bit of cocktail stick that I told you to save, that's what we're going to use to stick the horn on. Now I always find it easier to do it this way because then you don't have to worry about knocking the horn off. So just stick the sharp end into the horn, and then we're just going to push down and twist, and I've just put a little bit of water on the head just to stick it down. Next we're going to move on to the eyeliner. So this is a sleeping unicorn, so the eyes are closed. So just painting a little bit of water, and we're going to take our eyeliner that we've made. So again, it's pointier at one side than it is the other, and just pushing that into place and then trimming off any excess. Now we do want to create a point, so we're going to push that flick up at the end, and then we're just going to trim off the bottom part so that it's a little bit more pointy than what it is. And then any areas that need cleaning up, just take a clean brush and just brush that away. You can paint these on, but I just find it easier to do it with the fondant because you can manipulate it and push it into place, whereas when you're painting you only actually have one go at it before, to try and get them both matching. So once you've done that for both eyes, we're going to roll out the same shape again and then just trim off a tiny little bit at the end, and these are going to create the flicks, more flicks for the eyes, which is going to look like eyelashes. So hindsight, I would have done these a little bit bigger because they are quite small. You need to cut 4 in total, and then we're just going to stick these on with a little bit of water. I always use my brush to pick them up because it's easier to use that than it is to try to pick them up with your fingers and stick them on. And again, you can paint these on if you want, but I always prefer to do it this way because I can move them and I can push them into place, whereas once you paint it you kind of have just one chance to get it right. So we're going to stick the same on the other side. Just taking care not to put too much water on there. But this is what you should have so far. Next we're going to add a little bit of blusher. So I've got rainbow dust and I've just got a pink colour. And I'm just using a tiny amount on the brush. So always when you dip it into the dust, if you tap off the excess, you don't want too much. You just want it to be a nice sort of like pinky colour for the blusher. And then we're going to move on to the hair. So I've got some baby pink, baby blue and just the daffodil yellow in the sugar flare colours. And we're just going to create a similar shape to what the eyeliner was, and we're just going to twist that. So again, hindsight, I should have put the hair on first and then the actual horn. It just makes it so that you don't have to wrap the hair around the horn really, and that you could just put all three colours on together and then sit the horn on the top. So you can see I'm just hiding the join of the horn and pushing it into place. So rolling out your sausage, pointy at one end, and then you're just twisting it. So just wrapping it around and then trimming off the excess. We're going to use this same method for the tail. So once you're happy with your positioning of the face, the hair on the face, we're going to move on to the tail. So I wanted to do the tail as it was kind of like standing up. So I rolled my colours and I gradually got bigger. So obviously the pink was the smallest, yellow was a bit bigger, blue was a bit bigger. And you're going to use the same method that we used for the hair around the horn. So you're just going to push those three colours together and then you're just going to twist the ends. And we're just going to stick this on to the back just with a little bit of water and just push it into place. So it looks something like that. And the last thing that we need to do is just to paint the horn. So I've just got some gold dust and mixed it with a little bit of dipping solution, and I'm just painting that on. So it didn't take too long to dry, maybe about, I would say, an hour before the hair that stood up was hard. So when you're finished, you should have something like this. And here's the cake that I've put it on. I hope you liked today's video. Please give it a thumbs up and comment down below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you want to see any more of my videos, please click the links on the screen now. Thanks for watching.